Okay, guys, can we start? Am I audible to all of you? Can you just message me? Okay. Okay, guys. So what we will do today, just 1 minute, guys. Okay, so guys, today we will be discussing the 2020 question paper, okay? So as I've already told you, we will be going with this approach. So if you remember, I've promised you in the beginning, like I'll show you how to approach the paper. The way I approach the paper, I'll show you. Okay. So here, I'll take the question paper and we will go through the question paper exactly the way we should be doing it in the actual exam. But before that, let me tell you certain things about certain things that you need to focus on that. See, there will be two parts, part A and part B. Okay. And here in part A, you will have question 1. And here there will be question number 5 from where it will start. Out of in the first one question, there will be A, B, C, D, E. These 5 are compulsory. Okay. And then in 5 also, A, B, C, D, E. These 5 are compulsory. And then you have 2, 3, 4, you have 6, 7, 8. So this is compulsory. You don't have any choice. You have to attempt it. So we are not even going to look into that in the beginning. At any cost, we have to attempt. Same is the case with question number 5 as well. Now, if you see 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, you have 6 questions, out of which you need to attempt 3. So out of 6, I need to select 3. Can I select all the 3 from here? No. Can I select all the 3 from here? No. So what I need to do is, I need to make sure that 1, I will select from both. Okay, any one. At least 1 I have to select from both. So let's suppose I have selected this from here. I can select 2 from the other. So that is how you need to approach this paper. So I need to select 3 from 6. Now here also, this 3, each of these 3 will be like this. There will be further ABC. In 2 also ABC, 3 also ABC, 4 also ABC. Now here it will be like a 20 marker, then 20 marker, then 10 marker. Exactly the same. Everything will be same. So there will be 1 10 marker in all these. Now here, all these are of 10 marker. All these are of 10 marker. So you can see here, this is total 50. This is total 50. Okay. So in fact, each questions are of 50. So totally how many questions you need to attempt? 1 and 5 compulsory, which is of 50, 50. That in itself is 100. Then another 3, which is having choice, which is all carrying 50 mark. How 50 mark? 20, 20, 10. That's how it is 50. So 50, 50, 50, another 150. So this is totally 250 marks as your paper. So that all of you know, right? So this question number 1 and 5 compulsory, you don't have any choice. Then 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, we have 3 from the 6. Okay. But within this, you have further 3 questions. For that, you don't have any choice. Obviously, when you have selected that, you need to take that. Now, the biggest challenge is to take the 3 from 6. Especially if you come across paper 1, all the questions will be known to you. Now, how I'm going to select it is what is actually going to decide your mark. And that is what actually going to decide your rank at the end of the day. So this is the most important part. Now, as soon as you get the question, I will be focusing on these 6 questions. I don't care for this. I don't care for this. I have to attempt at any cost. I don't care in the beginning. I'll see the question. I'll start answering the question. That's how the approach of this 1 and 5. Now, guys, you will see here, this is 20 marker, 20 marker. So what you used to do so far, the mark which is like higher marks, 20 mark, I'll attempt first. Once I have selected, let's say 2 I have selected, then 4 I have selected, 7 I have selected. Let's suppose I have selected these 3. Then what you normally do is I'll go for the 20 markers. But here, this is something which you need to religiously follow. Okay. You are not going to attempt the 20 markers first. How many 20 markers will be there in total? There will be 6 20 markers. This you will be attempting only towards the end. Now, The 620 marker, you see, it is of 120 marks. 6 into 20, 120 mark. How many 10 markers are there? 5 here, 5 here, and from each of the one you have selected, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. So total 13. So 130 mark, 10 markers. Okay, so 130 mark for 10 markers, that means 13 questions, and 6 question, 120. Now guys, what I want you to do is, I'll do the same here, and I'll show you how to do it. And I will be trying to do around 8 to 10 question papers so that it will be printed in your muscle memory. And I want you to follow exactly the same whenever you are taking any test series and in the actual exam also. I will only be focusing on the 10 markers in the beginning. Only after completing the 10 markers, I'll move to the 20 marker. I'll tell you the reason. The reason is 10 marker, we are not considering this in terms of marks. Forget about the absolute numbers. We are more interested in terms of percentage. Okay, this 10 marker, it is very easy for you to score up to 7. It's very easy to score. You get direct question mostly, and it is very easy to score. I'll show you the questions also. You will not face any problem with the content for this 10 marker. So it's very easy for you to get 70%. But 20 marker, it is going to be very difficult for you to get 65%. 65% means 13 mark. On one side, you have easier questions where you can score up to 70, and it is difficult to get up to 65. So which one you should go for? You should always go for the 10 markers. So this 130, now consider it as 125, 124. This is almost half, right? It is of 250 mark. So half. But even then, I'm going to spend some more time than half the time. Let's say 180 minutes is what you're getting, 3 hours. I will be spending around 100 minutes for this 130. Why I'm spending this 100 minutes? Because I'm sure that I can score very good in this and I can compensate anything with the mark that I'm going to get from here. Guys, it may sound something totally unconventional, something which you used to follow till now is different, and this is what I'm telling you to follow. But just follow it, guys. I have taken mains 3 times and I've cleared mains 3 times, all with sociology, and 2 times I was topper. So this experience is what I'm giving to you, and this is what exactly you're expecting from me. So just follow this, because everything, ultimately, it is a numbers game, right? So this 100 minute, I'll be spending for 130 mark. And trust me, guys, it is very easy for you to get 7 mark. So 7, 13, I'm looking for 91, close to 91. Even if it is 85, I'm perfectly fine because I'm spending time. Rest of the 80 minutes, I'm going to solve 6 questions. I've already solved 13 questions, 6 questions. And I'm looking for around 60% or even 55% or even 50% also fine for me, guys. Even 50% is also fine for me. At 50%, what you will get? 120, 50% is what? 60. So then I'll be getting around 151. Now, if you see my score, it's exactly 158 or something like that in paper 1 last when I got selected. Okay, but the point which I want to tell you is, this is the minimum that I'm telling you, 60. It is the minimum. You will be getting 65, you will be getting 60. If you're getting 60, that is going to be really good, right? That will be around 72. Then in that situation, score will be 163. But this point need to be very clear, and it has to be there in your muscle memory. I'm not going to see what are the questions here. I'm not going to see what are the questions here. Okay. My point is, first thing that I need to do is I need to select the best questions, 3 questions. How I'm going to select it? I will select those questions which are mostly coming from Thinkers chapter, because you know that how strong you are in Thinkers, right? So that is going to be your strength. It's my strength, so I'm expecting that is your strength also. Okay, other areas anyway, leave it, but we will be focusing more on Thinkers. If the Thinkers question is coming, I'll jump onto it. Maybe some other questions, I don't care for that, but the Thinkers question is what I'm more into. I'm not going to care for the question number 1 and question number 5. Whatever it is, I have to attempt, and I will attempt. No doubt in that. Because we know the syllabus, and there is nothing. If they're asking something out of the syllabus, just leave it. We can't do anything. Everybody faces the same problem. You don't want to break your head for that. Don't get worried also that time. You have to, maintain that feeling as well. If not you, it will be the same for all. That is what you need to consider, because we have done the syllabus and that is what the maximum we can do. If not possible for you, some questions randomly they ask, like serendipity. If you have not come across these words, you cannot answer. No matter whatever guess you do, you're not going to get anything if it is not close to that. Okay, so I hope you understood. Now the challenge is what? Now the challenge is choosing the 3 options, right, from the 6. I will be looking for thinkers, and I will be selecting those questions which I will have more, content, and I must be capable of expressing my knowledge. Guys, we will take up questions. We will take up around 8 to 10 questions, and I will show that so that it will be printed into your muscle memory. And I want you to just replicate the same process every time. So in the first 2-3 minutes, I'll be selecting, because that is the most important point. I'll be selecting the 3 questions. And as soon as I selected, I jump onto this question number 1. Okay, I'll jump onto question number 1, and I will answer all the 5 questions. No matter what, high speed, without even looking into anything, 5 questions I'll complete. Move to question number 5. I complete the rest of the 5 questions. Now let's say I have selected 4, 7, 8. These are my choice questions. Out of this, what I'll do is I'll take the 10 marker, I'll finish it. I'll take the 10 marker, I'll finish it. I'll take the 10 marker, I'll finish it. I've done with 13 questions. And for this, I'm spending around 100 minutes. Rest of the 80 minutes, I'll be spending for 2 questions here, 2 questions here, 2 questions here. Okay, so you will be able to complete it. For that, we need practice. And this is not a big problem. You may think that 20 marker I need to do first, otherwise I may not be able to complete it. 10 marker I can manage somehow. No, guys, it's not like that. This is a professional approach. You want to be a professional if you need to crack this. So all my experience is what I'm sharing. And again, if you still want to go with this 20 marker first, then you go with that. The problem is you will start with 20 marker, you will stuck in between. Trust me, guys, most of the students that I've seen, some problem with the content will come in between, but you will not face any problem with the content in this, and in this 10 marker. You will have enough and more. You will be ultimately satisfied also. Second thing, another thing that I want to tell you, never cross beyond 130 to 140 words. Always try to restrict this word limit for 10 marker and 240 to 250 words for your 20 marker. Never cross this. Even when you're writing the test or mock papers or answer writing, whenever you're doing it, I've seen when you guys are writing this 20 marker, you're writing 5 pages. Ultimately, what is actually going to happen? We have to manage the time. It's a time management. What is the most important point here? You will be compromising one question. You may get 1 or 2 extra marks. They are not going to check whether you have written 300 words or 400 words. They will give you more mark when you're writing more content. But what more you will get 1 or 2. But you have to compromise on some other question. That's not a correct approach. At any cost, we will have to complete the paper. We cannot leave any question unless if you don't know anything at all. Only in that situation, like I've told you, you find this words like serendipity. You don't know anything about that. Then just ignore it. That was a question which was asked previous year. Nobody have any clue at that point of time. Later, everybody is preparing. Obviously, it was a previous year question. Okay. You guys got the approach? Now, can we move forward and I'll show the question paper of 2020. So my approach is, I will repeat it, 10 markers first, 13 10 marker from the first question, from the 5th question, and the selections that I've done. 13 questions I've done. Only then I'll come to 20 markers. Even in case let's say these 220, even in that 20 markers also, whatever having thinkers, I'll write first. I'll give priority. Thinkers, theories, I'll write first. And then random questions will be there, guys. When you're choosing, see here, 3 you have to attempt, right? You have selected that option. There may be one which is very general, like democracy, they will ask you. Like pressure group, they will ask you. These are general questions. Or some general question make social change related, some general question, education, social change, science and technology related question can come. But that we will give last priority. Okay, because we will have to write something at the end of the day. Okay, so we will be completing the paper like that. So guys, I hope you understood my approach, and my approach means this is what you are going to follow, because this is going to reward you. This has rewarded me, and I strongly recommend you to follow this. There are a lot of advantages. The first advantage is you can manage the time very clearly. Even if you're struggling, you can take one. You can parallelly answer last 20 questions also, even in case the worst situation. So time management is not going to be a problem if you follow this. Secondly, content-wise also, you will not face any problem. Okay, you start with 20 marker, you will stuck in between. trust me, you will stuck in between, at least in 2-3 questions. In between, you will get stuck. 10 marker, easily you can finish it. Okay, so that's the main thing that I want to tell you. Now, I'll go with the question paper. Okay. Okay, guys, I hope you can see this. So, am I worried? Now, if you get the question paper, am I worried about first question? No, I'm not at all worried about my first question. I'm not even thinking about that in the when I'm glancing through the question paper. At any cost, I have to attempt it. The moment I'm going to attempt that question, I'll see that. If I don't know, I'll just skip it. I'll come back if time permit. If I can write something, I'll write it. Okay. Now the question, second question is what I'm looking for. What are the reactions of Robert Merton to the functionalism of social anthropologists? Bring out the limitations of latent function thinkers. So there's a 20 marker. Okay, B will be 20 marker, C will be 10 marker. Now the first question, I'm very much satisfied. Merton, you remember the first thing that we have discussed is related to the same thing. What we did when we started Merton. I have discussed with you the functional approach so far. We discussed about Comte, we discussed about Spencer, we discussed about Durkheim, we discussed about Malinowski, we discussed about Radcliffe-Brown, we discussed about Parson. All these functionalists we summarized. We identified the problems with each of them, criticized, and then we have discussed Merton's postulates, 3 postulates as a reaction to that. That's exactly what they're asking, reactions of Merton. What is that? You need to write here, Merton's postulates. But how you set the context? You talk about the functionalism before. There's going to be a beautiful question. I have enough and more content, so you will not face any problem. Then second part also is very much clear to me, latent and manifest functions. Even though question is asked on latent function, you will be writing manifest function, because anyway that you will be introduced when you discuss about this reaction. Postulates itself, we will introduce that. You can further clarify. Okay, so, okay guys, we will discuss the answers later, but let me go with the process. Okay, so I'm happy with the first question. Second is somewhat general. Hierarchy and exclusion, the major impediments in the transformation of society. So that is something which I can answer directly from stratification. We have learned about this, so I don't find there is any problem in that. But I'm more happy with the first question in that. Democracy and what factors preventing people participation in politics is going to be general and something which I can write. No problem with that. 3 questions, okay? Question number 3, capitalism has brought increasing for informalization of work in society. Substantiate your answer. I can write it easily from chapter 5 and from Marx and from Weber. So that is okay for me. Capitalism, I have a lot of things to write. Second one, critically analyze Durkheim's view of elementary forms of religious life. That is the theory of religion. Directly 20 mark I'm getting. Also discuss the consequences of religious revivalism in contemporary society. So we are getting a question on the theory part. Second, we are getting on revivalism. I can explain the concept of revivalism. I can explain the consequences also. That is going to be a beautiful answer also. Discuss the consequences of across region marriage on kinship system in modern Indian society. I don't find any problem with this question also. Across region marriage concept we discussed already because of, especially North India problem of getting the, brides and from different regions, from different religion and community, different marriages are happening. How is it affecting the kinship system in India? So first we will have to talk about the different types of kinship system and then how this is going to affect the kinship system, because there are certain rules related to kinship system. So no problem, guys. I'm okay with these 2. I may probably go with these 2, okay, from this section. Actually, I don't want to look for the, okay, humanity at the mercy of nature, science and technology. This is more of a philosophy question. I'm not interested in this. So now I understood that I'm not interested in this. This is like an essay question. It's like a philosophy question. Though we have some content related to science and technology, social change and everything, but let's not get into this, guys. We are not getting into this. But this one is easy for me, Durkheim education. But since I am not interested in this, I'm not concerned about question number 4. At the same time, I'm happy with question number 2 and 3. And I can select only 2 from this. If at all I'm selecting 2, I'll be selecting that 2. Because I'm not happy with this question. You understood the reason. That is more important, guys. Why I'm not why I'm not taking this. I don't have much thinkers to write. I don't have, I can write certain things about science and technology, social change. And when I write, it will become very general. It's going to be very difficult for me to convince the examiner because paper 1, maximum, we have to go specific. So I'm not going to get into this. So I'm not even looking into though these are very easy questions, social mobility and all. But since this is general in nature, I'm not going for it. So question number 4, I'm not concerned. Okay, the other 2 I may select if I'm selecting 1 from the next one. Let's see whether 2 options I can select from the next also. I'm not concerned about 5 because I don't have choices. I will have to take that. Question number 6, discuss the new labor codes and their impact on formal and informal labor. This is almost like that question which I've discussed, the science and technology. If you know labor codes, obviously, but again, you need to put that into your perspective. We don't know much thinkers, which I want something which is established. I want something which we know. I don't want something new that we are going to write. We are not going to innovate. We don't have time. We don't have, we have to compromise a lot of things then. This is not there already in our mind. We have to innovate it. We know labor codes. Obviously, we might have studied for GS also, but that is not going to help you. So this question, I'm not satisfied. Then I'm not going to look into this. Let's see the other questions as well. But the other 2 questions are easy. So limitations of social survey method. Okay, easy. Elite rule, Mills concept is also okay. But I'm not concerned about question number 6. I hope you guys understood. Why? Most importantly, I need a question from thinkers. You remember question number 2, I got Merton, 20 marker. Question number 3, I got Durkheim, 20 marker. That's why 2 and 3 I've selected. 4, I didn't get any such thinkers. I ignored. 6, I'm not finding any such thinkers. Mills is there, but I want someone from that thinkers chapter. That is going to be very good for me. I'm ignoring. Let's see, I have 2 more questions. But all these you need to do in the first 3 minutes, okay? Technology has accelerated the process of development and dependency. This is not similar to that previous technology related question. This is something which we have prepared already, development dependency. That's a chapter that's directly from the syllabus. I don't have any problem with this. Now guys, look into this. Phenomenological perspective in sociology reject many of the assumptions of positivism. Beautiful question. Why? I told you what all things I look for. I need more content. I need more possibility to express my knowledge. Here I can talk about positivism since its emergence. I can talk about science. I can talk about positivism, the conditions of positivism, the elements of positivism, the criticism of positivism. Then I can talk about non-positivism. I can talk about Weber. I can talk about Mead. Then I'll come to phenomenology. That means I'm going to have a lot of content and I'll be scoring really good in this question. I am very happy with this question. Let's see the other one also. Again, Marx theory of alienation. Guys, beautiful. I'm not even thinking about anything. This is very happy, very good. And this is also Marx theory of alienation. I think I'll go for question number 7 as well. Let's see the last one. How does Marx views social conflict as an essential element of social change? Again, Marxian theory, class conflict, class struggle, conflict lead to change, dialectical materialism. I know this very clear, directly from Marx. Impact of gender division of labor in the development of society. Patriarchy, sexual division of labor, we directly did in the syllabus, and impact, I think I can easily write this. Examine how social movement come to an end, illustrate with example. We know the life cycle of social movement. We know how it will come to an end, either by achieving the goal, it will come to an end, or death of the leader, or it may be suppressed. Okay, sudden ending, abrupt ending, normal ending, rejuvenation, all these stages I know. So question number 7, very clear for me. Question number 8 is also very clear. So I have 4 now. I've reduced to 4. Okay, question number 4 and 6, I'm not going to attempt. I don't have any thinkers or anything. 2, 3, 7, 8. I think I will go for, see here I have a Marx theory, direct theory. And here social movements, very proper diagrams I can write and I can demonstrate. So definitely I'll go for question number 8. Phenomenology, very good we are in the first initial chapters, and then Marx theory of alienation. This is something which we already have studied in syllabus. So question number 7 also I'll go for it. Now 2, 3, which one I'll have to go? I think I'll go for 2, 3 is actually a confusion. But why I'm going for Merton is because I can talk about all functionalism then. Okay, I can talk about Comte, Spencer, Radcliffe, Brown, Malinowski, Durkheim, Parson, their approaches, their criticism, Merton's postulates, then latent function. A lot of content is there. This is a direct from stratification, and democracy is a general question. Guys, I will go for this. Now, you guys can see, we all are in a consensus now. We are going to attempt 2, 3, 7, 8. Okay, out of this, I need to take 3. 7, 8, and 2 is what I'm going for. Some of you may go for 3. Guys, any other opinion you have? I'll just unmute you. If you have any doubt, you can ask, as well as if you have any other opinion, you can discuss also now, and then I can address it then and there. I have just unmuted all of you. In case if you want to talk, whatever I have discussed, you can discuss. Then I'll go to the answers. We will go for the outline of the answers. Anything you want to discuss on this, what I've told you? Any other selections you feel like, guys? Anyone selected any other questions? We can just discuss that also. The reason why you have selected that.
So how much time to select these questions?
2-3 minutes, that's enough. Why we need to spend more time? Because we are not concerned about 1 and 5, we just ignored it. And in 2-3 minutes, we have to select it. And we start writing in the 4th minute immediately, the first question. Guys, anyone selected any other questions that we can discuss now before we discuss the answers? Mentoring students, those who completed the syllabus already. No. Okay. So let's go to the questions next. Okay. Let's start with the first one. Answer the following questions in 150 words each. So even though they say 150, you need to go with 135 to 145, 140. That's enough. Okay. But never cross 150 at any. It's not that you cross 150, you will get, they will count the words and no, nothing like that. You will get more marks only. But the problem is you will have to compromise. But what you can do, a lot of space will remain. What you need to do is write big, write legible, and make sure that you are almost completing the given pages. Make it big, make it legible. Because end of the day, if you start reading your own handwriting, it will be very difficult for you to read. That much you need to write. Okay. So how did intellectual forces lead to the emergence of sociology? I don't think that I need to discuss this. We discussed this in the answer writing program. I've given the clear answer for this. The social surveys, the philosophy of history, and the Darwin's theory of biological evolution with examples, we discussed this. So there is no need to discuss this. If you want to, I can take that AWP handout and I can discuss that now. But we have done, it's a direct question. Just focus on that. That's it. Very simple. Just 3 core things that you need to write. What are they? You talk about this new method, social surveys like that, biological evolution, and then philosophy of history. Okay. Now, value-free science, how many attended today's session? We were discussing about this, right? So sociology is a value-free science or not? We will say, we will take a balanced stand here. We will say what is the situation of during the emergence, why they wanted to make it similar to science. They followed this positivist approach, stressed on objectivity. Objectivity means freedom from personal bias. Bias will come from values. To get objective, you need to be value neutral or you need to be value free. But individual studying individual, human beings studying human beings. We are not studying matter. which do not have consciousness. According to Weber, we are studying human beings, consciousness. Difficult to ensure objectivity. Difficult that it can be value-free science. Can it be called a science? Science is understood more in terms of method of inquiry rather than body of knowledge. So we can consider it as science. Can it be a value-free science? Free. When I say free, can it be not absolutely free, right? Can we make it? It is difficult, but is it impossible? No. These are the words that you need to use. Though it is difficult, it is not impossible. We use proper methods, proper system. Do you guys know that functional paradigm Merton discussed, that you can write as an example, that he gave a system, training of the investigator and all those. Okay, but the other view also need to be written, like the phenomenologist and ethnomethodologist, the subjective understanding of subjective reality. They favor subjectivity. Those things also need to be written. End of the day, end of the answer, you need to mention, take a balanced stand. It cannot be completely value-free. See, even later sociologists is of the opinion that absolute objectivity is neither possible nor desirable in sociology. Write that in quotes, okay? And then conclude that we can ensure objectivity, maximum possible objectivity, or we can make it maximum value-free using methods, system, and trained investigator like that, okay? Then guys, other points which you need to write in the answer is given in the PDF, and we discussed also in the sessions. So that's not the idea here. I'm just telling you the approach. Otherwise, it is going to take another 3 hours, right? Now, methodology. Guys, methodology means what? It's a complex of methods. Okay, so methodology is a broad term which involve different methods and the way you are studying a phenomena. How you are studying a phenomena. That's what about methodology. Okay, so methodology is a system of rules, principles, and procedures which form scientific investigation. Comment. It's going to be easy. So how can we make it scientific? What are the methods that we can use? What are the different types of methods? Qualitative, quantitative, what are the different methodology, inductive, deductive, all these you explain. And tell in the beginning, positivists wanted inductive, non-positivists deductive, but end of the answer, you tell that there is no contradiction between deductive and science. Karl Popper, use the statement, conclude your answer. Ideal type was a beautiful question. We have studied and we have understood it in a very clear way. Ideal types of Max Weber are mental constructs. They do not correspond to the reality. Give your views. Easy one, right? How many times we discussed this? In the class, in the mentoring sessions, in the answer writing program. Okay. So guys, what are ideal types? Ideal types are the regularities. Explain that. The ideal type is a concept given by Weber in order to study a social phenomena objectively. Okay, so ideal types are the regularities. You try to identify the regularly seen elements. Okay, and then any phenomena can be studied by using the ideal types concept. Along with ideal types, other methods also need to be incorporated to make it more objective. And then you talk about some examples. Weber talk about use ideal type in theory of social action, authority, Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism, bureaucracy. Everywhere you can mention examples, and then explain why these are mental constructs, why these are not realities in themselves. Ideal types are not realities in themselves, but when combined, it will help you to understand the reality or social phenomena. Individual elements are meaningless. I think you remember that example which I used to tell related to family. If you see what are the regularities of family, that is what ideal types: sexual gratification, emotional security, economic security, taking care of child, taking care of aged. All these are ideal types. Are they realities? Will that help you to understand family? No. If I say sexual gratification, is that only related to family? Or taking care of child, is that only connected to family? No. Child care centers, old age home, taking care of aged. So individual elements are meaningless. You have to combine it to get the view of the reality. Guys, all those things we discussed, I don't think you will face any problem in this question. For that matter, any of these questions. Next one is analyze the relevance of pattern variables in the study of social change. We discussed how pattern variables is actually helping you to identify social change, modern society or traditional society to modern society. We understood pattern variables in terms of two polar extremes and in terms of continuum. Any society can be understood in terms of continuum, which falls in between tradition versus modern. No societies are completely traditional. No societies are completely modern. What are pattern variables? There are certain roles. When you're performing action in terms of roles, you may face dilemma. These dilemmas are what you consider as pattern variables. The dilemmas: ascription versus achievement, collectivity versus universalism versus particularism, affectivity versus affective neutrality, specificity versus diffuseness. All these we discussed. The combinations: universalistic achievement, universalistic ascription, particularistic achievement, particularistic ascriptions. Give an example of USA, give an example of Nazi Germany, give an example of China. A lot of content is there. Just refer that. You will be able to write a beautiful answer. How it is helping in understanding social change? It helps in understanding the transformation. Along with this, you can also mention cybernetic hierarchy of control, if possible. Okay, Merton, what all things you will write here, guys? First, talk about Comte, his approach, Spencer, his approach, and then Durkheim, Parson, Malinowski, and then Radcliffe Brown. Okay. And then their criticisms. I've given everything in the notes. If you want, I can take it now also. I can discuss, but no need to waste the time. And limitations of latent function. Explain what you mean by latent function. Unintended consequences. Consequences can be function as well as dysfunction. Unintended function. That is what latent function. Okay. Explain that in detail. What are the limitations? What are the problem in identifying that? And hierarchy. And hierarchy lead to exclusion. Okay. Major impediments. Here you, now one more important point that I want to tell here when you're answering this question, hierarchy and exclusion, when you're answering, you also have to talk about inequality. You have to talk about stratification. You have to talk about mobility. You have to talk about hindrances to mobility. In nutshell, any question from chapter 5, stratification, like hierarchy, exclusion is asked, you need to bring in all these dimensions to answer the question. What are the dimensions? Definitely you have to talk about inequality, talk about stratification, talk about social mobility. Because as soon as you see hierarchy, exclusion, we need mobility, movement, right? Mobility, impediments. Oh, yeah, it is there. That word is there. That or constraints, limitations, or issues in achieving mobility. Avenues to mobility also discuss. But still, what are the problems? Despite this much avenues. This is a very direct question, simple question. You will be studying that directly in chapter of politics, democracy as an order of society, and then what are the different factors. Okay. So I am answering this question, so I'm not going to answer the. Savin, Vandamadi. Okay, sure. Hello, Vandamadi Ravali. Sure. Hello, complete hacker. Sure. Okay. Guys, do you want me to answer any of these questions? Because I'm looking for that pattern, the way we are. This one is direct, right? In case if you're writing this question, I can talk about capitalism, how it brought informalization. Easily, I can talk about Marx. I can talk about Weber. Okay. And the classes, alienation, everything I can incorporate here. At the same time, if you look into this question, there's a direct question on theory of religion, elementary forms of religious life and role of religion. That means first part and second part. What is the role of religion? That is in the second part, functional part. So it's a causal functional theory. Completely you need to write cause and then function. That is what role of religion. That religion is a unified system of beliefs and practices related to sacred things. That is to say, things set apart and considered forbidden. Those who follow the same beliefs and practices will be united under one single moral community called a church. That's the second part. That's a function. First part, it's a composition. Both you need to explain. And then talk about what is religious revivalism, the context and the problems. Now remember guys, whenever you talk about revivalism, very easy to mention the consequence. What's the most important consequence? It's a threat to secularism. Definitely it should be there in your answer. You cannot take, see, this is something which you need to keep in mind. These four are connected. Fundamentalism, revivalism, communalism, secularism. Any one is asked, you need to mention all the four. If revivalism is asked, I'll tell it promote fundamentalism, it promote communalism, it's a threat to secularism. So I brought other three. Okay, similarly, if communalism is asked, I can tell that religious revivalism is one of the reasons for communalism. Fundamentalism is also one of the reasons for communalism. It's a threat to secularism. So that's how I need to connect all these four concepts if one is asked. At the same time, you also need to bring in sect and cult in this answer. Okay? Concept very easy, no? Across region marriage. So what you need to do here, it is because of skewed sex ratio, the brides are not available. So that's the reason why region, even different caste marriages are happening, especially in northern part of India. So we have a kinship system. There are certain rules which is followed in the kinship system, but that is different in different regions. South kinship system and north is different. If you remember that map we have drawn and we have discussed about Airavati Karve, right? We have discussed about that different classification. So you need to tell how the established system is affected by these kinds of marriages. Question number 4, I've told you this very general. We're not going to get into that. But though these two are very easy for us, but here the problem is you have to think a lot. I'm not interested in thinking during exam time. We can't do that. We don't have time for that. If we think, we can write a lot of answers. Now, if we look into, we can think of it and we can write a lot of good points. But we will not be in that situation, guys. So always avoid these kind of questions. Always. Something new is coming, just until and unless you have prepared for it. If you have taken the test series and you have prepared for it, you have seen the similar question, then it's okay. If not, just ignore it. Never, think during the exam. Whatever you know, you will only have the time to write. You will not get time to think or anything. Another easy question in the context of globalization. Has the scope of sociology been changing? Yes, but see here, it is in India. These days, they're asking specific to India in paper 1 also. Okay? Before also we saw that, the kinship system, right? So, right, what is actually happening? The scope of sociology is changing, the contemporary trends and everything. We discussed in the class, right? The same thing. Okay? Importance of sources of hypothesis in sociological research. Direct question, nothing to discuss now. What are the problems in observing social facts in Durkheim's views? Explain what are social facts, what are the characteristics of social facts, rules of studying social facts, and in one of the rules of observation. The question is directly from there. So explain more about rules of observation. What he says there, consider social facts as things. That's where the problem comes. How to consider social facts as things? Social facts are these social phenomena. How can we consider these as material things like a physical object? Difficult. Then what Durkheim says, it is difficult, but not impossible. There are other ways. Collective representation, right? You see a temple, you see a church, you see a masjid. What does it indicate? It indicates religion. You see some idols, it indicates religion. So these are the objective manifestations of the social fact. What is the social fact here? Religion. Manifestation in the form of these idols or the temple, etc. So the presence of these manifestation implies what? The presence of religion. That's a social fact. So this is what you call as collective representation. Explain that. Yes. Okay. Criticism of Weber. Social facts do not exist as pebbles in the beach, as you can simply go and pick it like physical objects. That also towards the end you need to write. Easy one, right? 10 marker. This is enough. More content is not required. Even 20 mark, we have the content. State the reason for various religious beliefs and practices in pre-modern societies. We can talk about all these animism, monism, and these psychological theories, mana theories. If not anything, you can talk about Durkheim theory. Simple. Okay, and that is already either you have written that question. If not writing, here you can write that theory. Durkheim theory on religion. He explained why this totem came into existence, right? That's what in pre-modern society, this is how religion came, this is how religious belief came. The state of exaltation, collective effervescence, people created a totem which signifies that mana or that collective exaltation, the supernatural force, and then the people started coming again to experience that feeling, and that is the reason for the totem, that is the reason for religion. Okay, guys, direct one, no problem. Does the institution of marriage continue to be sacred in Indian society? I've given a lot of examples, a lot of contemporary trends. Talk about that. Easy one, direct one. 6, I'm not attempting, we have not selected. 7, 8 is what we are going to attempt, right? Technology accelerated the process of development and dependency. When we discuss about development dependency, we'll talk about Immanuel Wallerstein theory, Andre Gunder Frank theory. You have to bring those. At the same time, you need to incorporate how technology interconnected different countries, developed countries, developing countries, and how developing countries are getting more and more dependent on these developed countries in terms of technology and other assistance and everything. Okay. This one, phenomenological perspective. What we need to do, we'll talk about emergence in the first line. Sociology emerged in response to challenges posed before modernity in medieval Europe. Then we will talk about initial sociologists wanted to make it similar to science. Then we talk about positivism, because reject many of the assumptions of positivism, because we got the opportunity now to talk about positivism. So let's talk about positivism, the main elements of positivism: empiricism, inductivism, naturalism, theory building, scientific approach, cause and effect relation, objectivity, prediction, testing, and all these things, problems with each of these. Then what Weber did, what Mead did, talk about interpretivist, talk about interactionist, Weber, Mead. Positivism, objective understanding of objective reality, Weber, Mead. Objective understanding of subjective reality, then phenomenologist. Then explain Alfred Schutz, Peter Berger, Thomas Luckmann, their approach. But towards the end, also talk about ethnomethodology and conclude your answer. Marx theory of alienation. Alienation, you know the definition: estrangement, disenchantment, that you can write. And then alienation from different societies. Alienation, the degree of alienation is different. And in capitalist society, 4 types of alienation: alienation from the product, alienation from the process, alienation from the fellow workers, alienation from self. Explain each of these, but towards the end, what you will write? Tell me, guys. Towards the end, what you need to write? De-alienation also as a solution. Very good, very good. 8A is very simple. Class struggle is what you need to write. Class struggle acts as motor of social change. Okay. Social conflict, class struggle is an essential element of social change. Talk about that process. Dialectical materialism. Explain that. Easy. Patriarchy and sexual division of labor we have done. Connect it with the development in society. You can use your other knowledge as well to write this answer. Social movements come to an end. How? Death of the leader, achievement of goal, suppression. These are the 3 reasons. But write that life cycle of social movement, right from the unrest stage, excitement stage, at its peak, then coming down, normal ending, abrupt ending, sometimes rejuvenation. All the 3 diagrams you need to draw, explain. Okay, so this is how you will have to, approach the paper. I hope you understood. See, main thing is not to discuss the answers. The main point is to tell you the approach, because answers we discussed already. Now we will have a next session on Wednesday and then Friday. We'll take one day break, and then we will.
Hello.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir. Good evening, sir.
Tell me.
Sir, if we have to attempt these questions, suppose we will in trouble to select the questions which we left. In case random, we have to adapt, write the questions which we left. Then in that situation, what we can do?
Why you are thinking about that? You have to be in a position to choose your options. If not possible, then better nothing to do. Okay,
No,
because
sir, if you find two question, new question in two.
Two things. Then, if you don't know, then you see. Suppose, like, okay, I understood what you're asking. Suppose you got this question number 7, this A, as totally new to you, right? But these 2 are known to you very clearly, right?
Yes.
Then even in that situation, then I'll go for question number 6, because all are known to me. Even though it is general, it is known to me. Okay, then I'll go for that.
Sir,
That general, and this is also general then. Okay. Until and unless you get a very specific, that is why I have given an example, that serendipity. Even now also, I think most of you don't know about that, right? So something like that, if you're getting, then you can't do anything, because these people can ask you question directly from dictionary also. They may take a word and they can ask you. Then you will be in trouble. The research methods, you have a chapter. There are hundreds and thousands of research methods. They can take one and they can ask you. How are you going to write that? When content analysis was asked in 2010, that year, 80% of the students was not aware of that. Later, now everybody is teaching everywhere, you can see that. But the year in which that was asked, 80 to 85% was not aware of that. Whether it is a qualitative or quantitative method itself, it was difficult. But seeing the word content analysis, it has to be a qualitative method. That kind of logical, guess you need to take. Okay. But that will not work out in all the cases as well. Yeah, someone was asking something.
Sir, in the question related to ideal types, the keyword is give your view. So we know everything about ideal type, but when that
even if they are not asking to give your view, you have to give your view for all these questions. So that is not a big deal actually. These things we can discuss in the next session, the keywords, underlining the keywords and all. But today I was more into the keywords and everything we discussed in the AWP also, but we will see that in the next session as well. Today, the most important focus that I've given is which all questions I'll be selecting and how I'm going to attempt it. Okay. Regarding this, your view, sociological perspective, every question you need to write in sociological perspective, every question you need to give your view. Okay, so that's nothing new. Okay, guys. So what you need to do from now onwards is whenever if you are busy with the prelims, it's okay. Whenever you're writing any test with anyone or casually you're taking a test, still just follow this approach. It has to be there in your mind. That's why we decided that we will do for 8 to 10 sessions for this. Okay. Can we stop here, guys, in case if you don't have any other doubts?
Hello, sir.
Tell me.
Is it compulsory to attend questions in sequence manner, or we just choose random questions?
No, we earlier that difficulty was there because one after that we need to put number and we need to write. Now they are giving the question, they are giving the space, so it doesn't matter whether you are attempting in sequence or not. No, nobody know that. Right? The question is there, the space is there. For everything, the question and space is there. So you ultimately you are attempting in the sequence only.
Sir, except 1 and 5, how many questions we have to attempt in total?
3. Each of these 3 will have further 3.
Sir, like from 1 to 8, 1 and 5 are compulsory.
1 and 5 are compulsory. Rest of the 6 questions, you need to select 3.
Oh, 3 out of 6.
Yes, but each of these questions will have further 3 within that. That is what you can see here.
Okay. Yes, sir.